The JLR interview series.
Okay, so it's Saturday morning, 4th of November, just after 11 a.m. And today I've got another Skype interview. And today we've got special guest. Her name is Mollie Marriott, a singer. And she's got a debut album that's just been released. So first of all, how are you this morning?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm fine. So, as I say, I was sent the song Control, which is a single in advance of this new album. By the way, the album is called Truth is a Wolf, which is a very interesting title, so I'll have to ask you about that. But I've been featuring the song on the latest releases and on the Rock and Blues show. So it's worked really nicely, and I think it's got a really nice vibe. So it's really good to have you here today. So really the first question is, so the new album is called Truth is a Wolf, and it's just been released. That's correct, isn't it?
Yeah, yesterday.
Oh, yesterday even, that recent. And it's your debut album.
It is. I know. What am I doing? It's madness. But it's very exciting. Very exciting. Had a very weird day yesterday. It's been a long time coming, but it's finally out.
Yeah. So, I mean, did you have, when you say it was released yesterday, was there a launch to go with it, or was it quite low-key? How did it work yesterday?
Well, I pretty much stayed in bed and hid under the duvet out of fear.
That low-key.
The whole thing. Yeah, that low-key. Yeah, I mean, I'm about to go on tour, so it's kind of, I genuinely forgot I was in tour rehearsals all this week, and then a friend of mine who shot all the artwork, he texted me going 12 hours. I was like, 12 hours till what? And he was like, until the album's out. And I was like, oh my god, I completely forgot all about it. I was like, oh my gosh. So it's been a bit mad, but it's great.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I say it's your debut, and as I said, it's called Truth is a Wolf, and really, it's how did you come about that title? It's an interesting title.
Yeah, well, a friend of mine called Gary Nicholson wrote a song called Truth is a Wolf, which is the song, obviously, that I've covered, and he originally had it for Bonnie Raitt.
Okay.
And I said, I really like it, and he was like, no, not having it. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I saw him the next day because we were doing some writing together in Nashville, and he was like, if you want it, you can have it. And it tied up, like the lyrics, the truth is a wolf, it will hunt you down. And that's kind of how I felt at that time in my life, and it felt like it kind of put a bow on the whole album, because the whole album's really about me, kind of facing some home truths and dealing with them. So it just made sense to me, really.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. And you wrote most of the tracks on this record. That's correct, isn't it?
Yeah, apart from Truth is a Wolf.
Truth is a Wolf.
I wrote them all.
Now, I mean, I say it's a personal album. As people listen to the tracks, they'll be able to see that, and if they read your blog posts and stuff. But actually, at the same time, it's quite an interesting time, because of the times we live in today. And there's a lot of stuff going on politically and everything. And what you just said about, the truth coming onto roost, getting you in the end, it's kind of happening in different ways to different people. So there is a strange link there, isn't there?
Yeah, there's. I think we're living in a very scary time at the moment, but I think a lot of people are waking up to things that are going on and not being so, hopefully not being so blinded by things on the internet and fake news and things like that. So. It has fallen at the right time. I think people can hopefully relate to my songs with different situations. I mean, a friend of mine, there's a track on the album called Love Your Bones, and a friend of mine said, that's the most beautiful love song to a boyfriend. And I was like, yeah, that's not what it's about, but great that you think that's what it is. She was like, what is it about? I was like, it's about the death of a friend. And she was like, oh my god, awful. It's fine if that's what you hear it as. That's great,
Well, yeah, again, that's interesting actually, because people could listen to songs and apply it to their own situation, so you could interpret it in all sorts of different ways that you might not have intended. But as long as it works, that's the main thing.
Exactly, and I so many people have said, oh, what's Control about, or what's Transformer about? And I kind of don't want to say too much.
Yeah.
Because I want people to have their own kind of link to it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's quite it's got a message in there, basically. That song Control, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a load of different inspirations behind that song. Lots of different things going on. Sorry. But yeah, I'm really proud of the album. Really proud of the album, and it seems to be going down well. And everybody's picking different tracks, which are their favourites, which is good. No one's gone to just, people keep going to the same track. So I am feeling a lot more confident today than I was yesterday.
Well, okay, so like people have been really checking it out even before it's been out there, like officially, by what you're saying. If people are choosing different tracks, because you said it was like officially released yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, we put it out yesterday, and because it was a pre-order as well,
right.
we pre-ordered it, got it straight onto their iTunes at midnight.
Oh, I see.
So I then asked later in the day, let me know what your favourite tracks are, and loads of people were picking different things, So I'm so glad about that, the variety of that. So
yeah, okay, and obviously not to give too much away, but obviously I've heard Control. Is the rest of the album, has it got different sort of vibes to it? Is there one or two ballads here, a bit more rocky there? What is it?
Yeah, I mean, it's really difficult to describe it. There's definitely a lot of grunge elements in it because I'm a massive grunge girl.
Oh, okay.
I was raised in the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
So, my influences are Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, Alanis Morissette, that kind of vibe. But I tend to put more of a bluesy vocal to it. We have some kind of bluesy whirly going on and stuff like that throughout the song. But yeah, it's there's lots of different elements to it. There are maybe one or two ballads. One very obvious one, which is the only real lovey-dovey song on my album. I didn't want an album of love songs, but I refused to be that person. There's lots of different elements in it. Some gospel elements on it from the backing vocals. Lots of different vibes.
Well, I mean, I like that answer because what it tells me, you got and the word is not conflicting, so I'm not got the right word in my head, but you got like different influences going on, because obviously you said you grew up in the 90s, and obviously all the grunge scene, alternative scene, which I was a big fan of as well. But also you got influences from your past, obviously with your dad, Steve Marriott, and things like that, and you've done stuff with people like Paul Weller, so they have that kind of, which I really like as well. They kind of cross that fine line between rock and soul, which a lot of people don't really think about, but the line is a lot finer than people might realise.
Yeah, I agree, actually, because, my friend, a friend of mine said, oh, your dad was a real rock vocalist, and I said, no, he wasn't.
No.
And she went, what? He was, the best rock singer. I said, but he's not a rock singer. I was like, he's a blues and soul singer.
Yeah.
It's just with a rocky vibe, in the instrumentation, not in the musicality of it. Yeah. And she was like, oh my gosh, I really didn't think of it that way. And I've kind of tried to, not purposely copy him at all, but just take elements. And, my main influence, as I've said before, is Chris Cornell vocally, because he's got this incredible way of really manipulating you with his voice, and all in one song he can be really sleazy and then really sexy and then really aggressive and powerful and then really vulnerable, and you're just like, it's not constant, here's all the notes I can hit all the time, and look how high I can go and powerful I can go all the time. You've got to have some emotion in your delivery, otherwise it's not believable.
Yeah, no, that's very true. And I think a good example is Glenn Hughes. I think he's a really good example of that.
He's great.
Yeah. So really, next thing I wanted to ask you. So obviously you've got to this point now where you've released your debut, but you've done so many other stuff over the years. You've sang with a lot of different people. You've done session work, and things like that, and you're a vocal coach as well. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, I've been teaching. Well, it's not so much teaching, but helping the cast of All or Nothing. The mod musical, which I've been part of for about 5 or 6 years, and it's basically I've just been teaching them how to manipulate their sounds so that they sound more like the characters they're playing. Okay. So the guy who has been the lead singer, he's playing my dad, the younger version of In the Small Faces. It's a really big role to fill, and all I needed was 2 days with him. He was just absolutely phenomenal when he did his homework, and we've had quite a few play the role over the years, but he was the first one to make me cry. So I was like, nailed it. And I hate you. But he's fantastic. So I've been doing that, and as you said, session work, and I still to this day absolutely love being a backing vocalist. Except unfortunately no one really asks me anymore now that I've stepped forward as a lead singer, and I'm like, no, please, because I love it, and I just love being part of the band in that way as well, So
Oh, could you not just say, "Oh, I'm still here"? Mind you might be too busy.
I do.
No.
I do. I keep saying it. I'm still out here. I'm still. To be honest, I have the last month. I did a couple of things, which was just so exciting for me to go back and do that and sit in that pocket of. I just love layering backing vocals. It's just so much fun.
Yeah, what is it about? Because there's quite a few famous artists over the years who, you see their names pop up on other people's records, just playing an instrument or just doing backing vocals. And I think of someone like Sting, who I've seen on jazz musicians' records, just playing bass, and people be thinking, what? And why?
Because why not? When you're doing it, when that's proof to me, anyway. It's proof that you're doing it for the art and not for the glory and the fame.
Yeah.
And and you're not just doing it selfishly. You're doing it to be in this community, this amazing musician, create an amazing musicianship with you all and get involved. And my friend's just done a rock album, and it's so great, and it's got half of my band on it, and we've all got together, and just to be part of that, it's like a real family, and it's a really, really great thing. It really is. So Weller's a fine example. He's on everything. Paul's on everything at the moment. There's so many albums out there this year that he's played on.
Yeah.
But he doesn't shout about it because he just wants to play.
Yeah. Well, that's really it's good to hear. It's reassuring as well, isn't it? At the end of the day, people just want to work, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think unfortunately in the pop world that doesn't really happen. It's very much each to their own, and everyone's out for themselves. Unfortunately. Whereas, it's not very musical. If I'm allowed to say that, I don't care. I'm saying it. So, but whereas in the rock side, the blues side, so there's so much. Everyone gets really inspired by it. You go and watch bands, and you purposely go and watch them to learn from. And you'll go to the tiniest little dive. You don't care to, see this band that you've heard about on the, on the grapevine and on the circuit, and you want to go and see, and you will always, always, always be inspired by them. And I just don't think that happens in the pop scene.
No, I think maybe because it's just too much of a business, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. It's all about money and glory and fame and
and not always necessarily mastering your craft as well.
No, and I remember I did a session once, it's quite a few years ago now, and it was for a pop thing, and I did the backing vocal, and I knew, on hands up, I was a bit off, I was a bit flat, And I went, sorry, I'll redo that. And he went, no, don't worry, we'll fix it. And I went, no, you won't. I was like, no, you will not. I was like, I will redo it, thank you very much. And he went, oh, okay. And he was genuinely shocked. And I said, what kind of artist does that make me to A, let you do it, and B, not to want to redo it and master it?
Did you ever get a call from him again?
No, I didn't. But that it just goes to show to me what kind of thing he's used to.
Yeah.
You know, because I think, God, what is that? What people are like these days? Oh, I'll fix it. Oh, okay, great. No.
Yeah.
It's like a guitarist playing a riff wrong. You wouldn't edit it, would you? You'd expect them to do it again.
Yeah.
Until they get it right. You know.
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting.
Always bugs me.
Yeah, I can tell. I can tell.
Sorry.
I was trying to make sense. Let's go.
Sorry, I always go off on a rant about this sort of thing. But it just
well, look,
winds me up.
no, I can understand. I mean, obviously, we all feel the same way. But obviously, I don't really. It's not my job to really get into that. But I share your pain. I really do. I totally understand.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. But yeah, so the other thing I was like, as I said, I was reading your blog, and what really interested me is what you said about sort of the line between privacy and giving fans what they want. You know.
Yes.
Because I interviewed Juliana Hatfield a few months ago in June, actually, and she was great fun. And but I think she's a similar sort of vibe to what you're bringing across. Like someone who's a strong character. Her songs are all about things that she's experienced, and she puts it into words very well. But at the same time, wants to be, you know, at a certain place where not everyone's, you know, at her beck and call all the time.
Yeah. Well, I also think it depends on what you put out yourself. If you're going to share, say on social media, here I am having lunch with my mates, here I am, me and my boyfriend doing this, or here, you know, then you've already opened that door.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to expect it. You can't suddenly open it and then shut it and expect people to respect your privacy. It just doesn't work like that. So I really don't want to coin this phrase, but it is all or nothing.
Yeah.
You know, it really is.
It is.
And for me, it's just purely, I'm in this industry purely for music, and that's it. And if people want to know about my private life, they can learn about it in my songs.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's really what it should always be about.
But it's more and more difficult now, the social media thing, isn't it, really?
Yeah, but again, it, you know.
But it's still, it's yeah. No, okay, that's interesting. That's good to hear. And really, just to finish up now. So, obviously, first of all, can you tell us who your band members are? Who's in your band?
On the tour?
Yeah.
Or on the
records?
On the tour, well, I've had the same band for about 4 years now. So on drums, I have CJ Evans. On guitar, I have Johnson Medwick Daly. On bass, I have Tom Swan, and that's my band for this tour. I've stripped it down.
Okay.
On the album, I have those boys, and another drummer as well called Alex Reeves, who's currently out with Guy Garvey and Elbow.
Okay.
And a bass player called Henrik Ergens, who plays for Jamie Lawson.
Mm-hmm.
And Paul Weller, Dean Tidy's put a bit of guitar on it as well, a friend of mine who's in Feeder. So there's a lot of Sam Tanner, who plays keys from Brother Strut.
Yep.
He's my best mate, and I've been writing most of the album that's been written with him.
Okay.
So yeah, serious hardcore musicians.
Excellent. And you've got quite an extensive tour coming up as well in England, or is it just in England, or are you going to be doing other places?
Well, it's UK. We're doing Cardiff, we're doing Glasgow.
Okay.
But yeah, it's I'm looking forward to this one. It's smaller venues, which I love doing.
Yeah.
Because it kind of you get that whole kind of sticky floor vibe going on, and Yeah, the band, I mean, I'm the only woman on the tour with a load of men, and there's probably going to be about, 12, 13 men per night with all the crew and all the, bad touch and my boys and the support acts. So I'm probably going to end up mothering them all.
Yeah.
Because I'm a mum and it just all happened to be that way. But it will be so much fun as well. It's just going to be great. And I can't wait.
Oh, great.
It's my favourite part about the whole thing.
Yeah.
Getting out there.
Yeah. So when is the first date? Is it next week?
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday?
Yeah,
Sheffield. Sheffield's a nice town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, up north is always fun to play. They're a lot louder.
Oh, really?
And a lot... Yeah. I've always found them to be louder than, say, London or South. Scotland I'm looking forward to going back to. I haven't been there since I was about 18 playing, so I'm really looking forward to going back there.
Yeah.
So I can't wait.
Oh, great. Well, okay. Well, like I say, it's really thanks for this interview this morning. I really enjoyed it. And really...
Thank you. I apologise for going off on a rant.
Oh, no. Rants are fine. Nothing's wrong with a good rant now and again. Absolutely. I'm sure the listeners will enjoy it. So yeah, and good luck with the album, and really enjoy the tour coming up. Thanks a lot for the interview. Thanks. Okay.
Taking back full control, it seems to me just a little bit like I didn't have much warning. Sitting on black and gold, bitter pill to own. Now watch me go to the world below as I salute you all. You sign me to ride me, calling me baby. You sign me to ride me. Now sail on through the world for a pretty world. I'm gonna put you in the ground by the devil's kiss of word and sound. Let the sound resonate till your ears are bleeding. At least you made me stand up for what I believe in. No one can call it quite a hit and run. Devoid of the fool, now I'm the lucky one. 'Cause I'm not a fool for a pretty world. Sign me to ride me, calling me baby. Sign me to ride me. Now solo on through the pretty world. Don't call me, find me and run through
The JLR interview series.